With pride, we welcome you to Winnipeg, the host city in the heart of Canada. Your visit to Winnipeg coincides with the visit of two other very important visitors, Chang Chang and Rong Rong. Their stay at the Winnipeg Zoo will be the only visit of giant pandas in the world this year. Now, let's meet the players and participants of the 1989 National Series of Reach for the Top. Hi, everyone. I'm Stan Mahalik, and welcome to the Nationals of Reach for the Top. We're looking for a semifinalist today. We already have British Columbia sitting here in the semifinals. Today's matchup pits Manitoba against New Brunswick for the right to play BC. Here's a look at our two teams, Manitoba and New Brunswick. Before we meet each of the students individually, let's meet the judges and scorekeepers for today's matchup. First off, the judges. Here they are, Paul Russell, and next to him, Neil Harris. Our official scorekeepers, Sandy Wallace-Chuck and Vona Geiler. And the lady with all the questions, Kathy Daly.
Maybe. Hopefully the answers. Can you tell there are homers in this crowd, ladies and gentlemen? Of course, we are in Winnipeg, and Manitoba is playing this match. Silver Heights Collegiate, our chance for Manitoba, against New Brunswick and Moncton High School's team. And we'd like to introduce you now to the players from those teams. First of all, from Manitoba and Silver Heights Collegiate, Sean Lynch, Fiona Jeffries, Jeff Steele, and Stephen Schroeder. And the coach of Silver Heights Collegiate and the Manitoba team is sitting in the audience, Ron Bailey. And now let's introduce you to the players from New Brunswick and Moncton High School. Peter Fisher, Trish Walsh, Jean Koch, and Joey Bernard. And in the studio audience, Charles Flewelling, who is sitting in for Coach Jacques Sainton, who couldn't be here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you're anxious to begin this quarterfinal game. We'll begin with a round of snappers. Here we go. Edward VIII abdicated his throne to marry Sean.
Wallace Simpson.
Right for 10. Who was leader of the New Democratic Party, Sean?
David Lewis.
Yes, you read my mind for 10 points. Which U.S. cabinet nominee was recently rejected, Sean?
John Tower.
Yes, he was. What disease is the Black Death of the 14th century, Sean?
Bubonic plague.
Yes, that is right. What was the name? Oh. Indeed. What was the name and number of the craft that carried man into orbit, Sean?
Apollo 1.
No, into orbit for the first time, New Brunswick, Jean.
Sputnik 1.
It is Vostok 1. Here's an open question for 30 points now on people. Identify the following people involved in history in Western Canada, nicknamed the Hanging Judge. Who served, Sean?
Judge Bean.
No. Who served as a judge in British Columbia for 36 years, New Brunswick? Jean.
John Diefenbaker.
No, it is Matthew Begbie, Sir Matthew Begbie, chief of the Saulteaux Indians, who helped the Selkirk colonists to survive during their first difficult years in the Red River settlement. What was the chief's name? Jean.
Hammaker.
No, Manitoba. Sean?
Big Bear.
Pegwis, who was well known in the West as a school principal and radio evangelist long before he was Premier of Alberta. Sean?
Bill Aberhart.
Yes, that is right for 10 points. An open audio question now for 30 on classical music. Please listen and wait for the questions. Now, this piece is by Beethoven. It is an excerpt from which symphony?
Fifth.
Jean, that is right for 10 points. Now, Beethoven's lifetime bridged which two centuries? Peter?
The 17th and 18th.
No. Manitoba. Jeff?
16th and 17th.
The 18th and the 19th, from 1770 to 1827. Now, it has been said that the music of Beethoven looks back to its classical heritage and forward to what 19th century attitude or movement, Jeff?
Romantic.
Yes, that is right for 10 points. Here is a team question now. It's worth 35 points in all. For 5 points, the team which answers this 5-point question correctly has an opportunity to earn the remaining 30 points exclusively. So for 5, which Hungarian-born physicist was the principal architect of the hydrogen bomb, first tested in 1952? Jean?
Oppenheimer.
No. Manitoba. Edward Teller. Edward Teller is the answer. We're going to move on now to an open question for 30 points on Charlemagne. The following questions relate to Charlemagne. Charlemagne's actions in supporting which pope laid the groundwork of the medieval Holy Roman Empire? Sean?
Pope Gregory.
No. Joey?
Pope Innocent.
Leo III. What was the name of the people of Charlemagne's original realm, of which Charlemagne himself was one? Peter?
Gaul.
No. Manitoba. Sean.
Franks.
The Franks is right. In English, how would the name Charlemagne translate? Fiona.
Charles the Great.
Charles the Great is right for 10. An open question now for 40 points on islands. The following questions relate to islands off Canada's eastern provinces. Which island's shifting sands have brought it infamy? Sean.
Sable Island.
Yes, as a wrecker of ships. Which island lies at the entrance of the St. Lawrence River and is nicknamed Sean?
Anticosti.
Anticosti is right for 10. What Nova Scotia island is reputed, Sean?
Cape Breton Island.
No, is reputed to be the site of treasure buried by the likes of Henry Morgan. Joey.
Oak Island.
Oak Island is right for 10 points. Which island off New Brunswick, the well-used Sean?
Campobello.
Campobello is right for 10 points. Not much of a chance for New Brunswick to get in there. Sean Lynch. An open video question now. It is worth 40 points. And the subject is royalty. Please watch your monitors and wait for the questions. Now, this is a work of art from what century? Sean.
20th.
20th is right for 10. Which French artist painted this king and queen? Sean. Not there. New Brunswick. Marcel Duchamp did. We have a second piece of work we'd like you to look at and wait for the question. Now, this is a portrait of which Stuart King of England? Sean.
Charles.
Yes, that's right for 10. A few years after this portrait, Jean.
Died?
No. It's a good assumption. After this portrait was painted, Charles lost a terrible civil war to which parliamentary leader, Manitoba? Sean.
Cromwell.
Cromwell is right, Oliver Cromwell. An open question now for 30 points on biological classification. To what phylum does the grasshopper belong? Fiona.
Orthoptera.
No. Trish.
Chordata.
Arthropoda. To what phylum do sponges belong? Porifera. To what phylum does man belong? Sean. New Brunswick. Jean.
Mammalia?
Chordata. Here's a round of snappers now. What peninsula makes up the largest portion of Denmark's geographic? Sean.
Gotland.
No. Manitoba. No, pardon me, New Brunswick. Geographic area. Jutland is the answer. Next to Vatican City, what is at 61 square kilometers? Sean.
San Marino.
San Marino is right. Whose ghost comes to haunt Macbeth? Sean.
Banquo.
Yes. What is the capital of the Republic of... Sean.
Port-au-Prince.
I knew you wouldn't get that one. Of Cameroon, New Brunswick. Yaoundé is the answer. According to the old saying, how much is a bird in the hand? Sean.
2.
Worth. How much is it worth, New Brunswick? Trish.
2 in the bush.
2 in the bush is right for 10. Here's a 40-point assigned question. As you know, each team will have an opportunity to earn 40 points. Each student will be asked a 10-point question. If you fail to answer your assigned question correctly, your opponent directly above or below you has a chance to earn 5 points by answering the question. We'll begin with Manitoba. Now, all of these questions have to do with people's initials. What do the initials in the following names stand for? Sean, we'll begin with you. The English statesman and Prime Minister Winston S. Churchill.
Spencer.
Spencer is right for 10. Fiona, the winner of the 1957 Nobel Peace Prize, Lester B. Pearson.
Benedict.
No. Trish, for 5 points. Bowles. Jeff Steele, for 10 points. The entrepreneur connected with the circus, P.T. Barnum. What does P.T. stand for?
Thomas.
No. Jean?
Peter Thomas?
No. Phineas Taylor. Stephen, for 10, the creator of The Great Gatsby, F. Scott Fitzgerald. What does the F stand for?
Frank?
Joey, for 5 points.
Francis.
Francis is right for 5 points. New Brunswick, now for 10, Peter Fisher. The President of the United States connected with Watergate, Richard M. Nixon.
Milhouse.
Milhouse is right for 10. Trish, the English novelist who wrote Sons and Lovers, D.H. Lawrence. We need both initials. D.H. Lawrence.
Dennis Hector.
That's not it. Fiona for 5.
David Henry.
David Herbert, that was closer. Jean for 10 points. Canadian Prime Minister John G. Diefenbaker.
Jeffrey.
No, Jeff for
George.
5. George is right. Joey, a spokesman for political conservatism in the United States, William F. Buckley Jr. What does F stand for? Not there. Stephen for 5.
Frank?
Frank is right for 5 points. You got it that time. It's an open question now. It's worth 30 points on mathematics formulas. Identify each of the following formulas if you can. A equals pi times r squared. Stephen.
Area of circle?
Yes, that's right. V equals pi times r squared times... Jean.
Area of a cylinder.
Yes, that is, pardon me.
Volume of cylinder.
Pardon me. No, that's not acceptable. Times H, Manitoba. Stephen.
Volume of a cone.
Volume of a cylinder. It was right. Jean guessed it the second time. We can't take that. A equals 1/2 times B times Jeff.
Area of a triangle.
Area of a triangle times H. Here's an open question for 30 points on current events. Once known as the mother of Black South Africa, the wife of the imprisoned African Sean.
Winnie Mandela.
Mandela is right. Some of the young black bodyguards who protect Mandela have been linked to the kidnapping of a black youth and even the murder of a young political activist. What is the title by which these bodyguards are known? Sean.
Soweto soccer team.
No. New Brunswick. Peter.
The Black Panthers.
United Football Club, the Mandela United Football Club. Mrs. Mandela's actions have been openly rebuked by various anti-apartheid Jeff.
Bishop Desmond Tutu.
That is right, for 10 points. On that note, we're going to take a break and return with the next round in a moment.
The National Championships on Reach for the Top. We'll be right back.
Gallery Frame is pleased to announce they now carry a fine line of art supplies for local artists and would-be artists.
Welcome back to Reach for the Top. Manitoba has taken an early lead, 220 to New Brunswick's 45. Let's pause from the action for a moment and look at a couple of scenes here. Very familiar to Manitoban students, but maybe not to those visiting. Here's what some of the kids did before we got right down to business. A bus tour of Winnipeg, courtesy of Grey Goose Bus Lines and Circle Tours, allowed the visiting students, teachers, and advisors to learn more about their host city. The tour moves through the downtown streets of Winnipeg to view many of the local sites. The Manitoba Theatre Centre, home of the city's most talented thespians. The corner of Portage and Main, windiest corner in Canada. Old Market Square, where the historic general strike of 1919 began. Winnipeg's own Chinatown, the new home of the world-famous Royal Winnipeg Ballet. The Winnipeg Art Gallery, and the recently refurbished Hotel Fort Garry. Near the historic forks of the Red and Assiniboine rivers, the students visited the gravesite of Métis leader Louis Riel and the St. Boniface Basilica, an architectural marvel partially destroyed by fire in 1968. Fortified with a picnic lunch, the students moved on to the Royal Canadian Mint, then back to the university.
And welcome back. Let's see how much our students from New Brunswick remember from their Winnipeg visit, because this next question has to do with Winnipeg locations. It's a 30-point open question, and of course, Manitoba, you have a bit of an edge here. Located in the financial or banking hub of Winnipeg, what is the name of the city's, Sean?
Portage and Main.
No, what is the name of the city's tallest building, New Brunswick? Jean.
The Scotia Building.
It is the Richardson Building. Now, try to be specific. We need a specific answer. An ornamental gate survives today as the only lasting remnant of which famous Hudson's Bay Fiona?
Upper Fort Garry?
Upper Fort Garry is right. Louis Riel's grave is marked today by a tomb. Sean.
In St. Boniface.
In St. Boniface is right. Here's a team question now. It's worth 35 points in all. The scramble for 5. Which reform supporter opened the Toronto Globe in 1844? Sean.
Brown.
Brown is right. George Brown. And a Manitoba chance now at the next 30 points. The remaining questions deal with George Brown. With which Lower Canada Liberal did Brown form a short-lived government of the Canadas in 1858? With whom? We need an answer. Sean?
Fleming.
Dorion, A.A. Dorion. His Upper Canadian Reform Party in 1857 included which radicals with a 2-word title had previously opposed for their vision of an American-style government? What was the name? Sean?
Neo-colonialists.
No, the Clear Grits. Brown's initiatives to end the problem of sectional divisions due to regional differences led to what constitutional change in the 1860s? Sean?
The formation of Canada.
That is right, for 10 points. Here's an open question for 30 now on geology. It means containing or yielding petroleum. Spell, Sean.
F-O-S-S-I-L, new word, F-U.
New word. New Brunswick, can you spell petroliferous? Jean.
P-E-T-R-O-L-I-C-E-F-E-R-O-U-S.
No, petroliferous, P-E-T-R-O-L-I-F-E-R-O-U-S. That was a tough one. Now, what is the geological term for ground that is frozen all the time? Peter.
Permafrost.
Permafrost is right. Accumulated rock material that is being transported or was transported by ice is known as... Jeff.
Glacial till.
No. New Brunswick. Trish.
Glacial drift.
It is known as moraine. And on that, we're going to take a break and return with the final round of this game in a moment.
Stay tuned for more action as the national championships of Reach for the Top continue after these messages.
Mama, he's crazy.
Oh, but remember, this offer could end without notice, so please act now.
Welcome back. Let's give you an official update on the score thus far. New Brunswick 55, Manitoba on top with 255. More questions in the final round. Here's Kathy.
And we're going to begin with a chance for you to earn 40 points in one clean sweep. If you can do it, here is a what am I question worth 40 points. We'll take 10 points away for each clue we give you if you don't get it on the first try. I am the focal point of theater, many say for the entire Western Hemisphere. Sean.
Greek drama.
No, the financial world, the advertising business, and of music and book publishers. What am I for 40 points, New Brunswick? Peter.
New York City.
No. For 30 points, I have been the inspiration for songwriters and bartenders. What am I for 30, Sean? Not there. New Brunswick? Jean.
Paris.
Not Paris. For 20 points, Peter Minut purchased me. For the Indians, Sean.
Manhattan.
Manhattan is right for 20 points. Here's an open audio question now. It's worth 30 points. The subject, of course, is music. Please listen and wait for the question. This popular song was first heard on the soundtrack of what famous film, Sean?
The Wizard of Oz.
The Wizard of Oz is right. Now, the film won a major Academy Award in what category, Peter?
Special effects.
Not special effects, Manitoba. Sean?
Best color film.
Best song. In the film, what is the name of the city in the land of Oz? Sean? Sorry? Where the wizard lives, Peter?
Emerald City.
Emerald City is right for 10. An open question now. It's a 20-point special. If you can, identify the person described below and the word synonymous with her name for 20 points. This person's name has been corrupted into another word meaning effusively sentimental. The person was one of Jesus' female followers who wept at his feet, wept at the cross, and wept at the empty tomb. What word am I looking for, and who is the historical personality associated with that term? Joey.
Melancholy, and it was Melancholia.
No. Manitoba. Fiona.
Mary Magdalene and the Fallen Woman.
Mary Magdalene and the word maudlin. That's where it came from. Here's an open question for 30 points on birthstones. Which birthstone is a natural crystalline form of blue? Sean.
Emerald.
Transparent corundum. Jean.
Amethyst.
Sapphire. November's birthstone has the same. Sean.
Topaz.
Topaz is right. A colorless or yellowish insoluble substance. Peter.
Agate.
Not agate, is used as a gemstone when transparent. Along with turquoise, it is considered December's birthstone. Manitoba? I need an answer. Well, it's not there. Zircon. Final round of snappers now as the bell sounds. The score, Manitoba 295, New Brunswick 65. Here we go. What was the first French language Roman Catholic university in North America? Sean.
Laval.
Laval is right. What is the trophy given to the Canadian Intercollegiate Football? Sean. Football champions, New Brunswick. I need an answer. Peter.
Vanier.
Vanier Cup is right. Which province elected the first social credit government? Sean.
Alberta.
Yes. In what province was the Cooperative Commonwealth Federation? Sean.
Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan is right. Name the capital city of Bolivia. Sean.
La Paz.
Yes. What is the name for the science which studies earthquakes? Sean.
Seismology.
In the zodiac, who are the so-called heavenly twins? Sean.
Gemini.
Specifically, New Brunswick. Castor and Pollux. What was the first space probe series launched from Earth to impact on Venus? Joey.
The Viking.
No. Manitoba. Venera. Venera. Near what major Canadian city would I find the Seychelles Peninsula? Sean.
Halifax.
New Brunswick. Sean.
Vancouver.
Yes, for 10. The Trent Canal links Lake Ontario with Sean.
Lake Erie.
With what other Great Lake, New Brunswick? Peter.
Superior.
Huron. Who was the newspaper baron Lord Beaverbrook? Sean. New Brunswick? Max Aitken. What is the name of Newfoundland's preeminent satirical comedy troupe? Sean. New Brunswick? Codco. Prior to the Soviet Union's adoption of the Gregorian or Western calendar, Fiona.
Julian.
Julian calendar. Into what sea does the Mackenzie River flow? Sean.
Bering.
No. New Brunswick? Joey.
Arctic.
Beaufort Sea? What major Soviet port sits on the Barents Sea near the Norwegian and Finnish borders? Jean.
Leningrad.
Not Leningrad. Sean?
Murmansk.
Murmansk is right. In architecture, what is the name for a decorative ornament resembling a rose, having a generally circular combination? Sean?
Rosette.
Rosette is right for 10 points, and there is the final bell. We'll be back with the final score of this game in a moment.
We'll be back in a moment to give you the official score in this national playoffs game of Reach for the Top.
The Petawawa Civic Center has summer fun for everyone. For some, it's a...
Who's the Boss? Weeknights at 7 on good-looking CHRO-TV, Cable 6.
It is official. Congratulations to Manitoba. By virtue of a 375-85 win over New Brunswick, you have taken a spot in the semifinals against British Columbia. Here's Kathy with our teams.
Thanks very much, Stan. And we'd like to thank, before we go any further, our judges, who are Paul Russell and Neil Harris, and our scorekeepers, Sandy Wallaschuk and Vona Geiler. And our congratulations to the players from New Brunswick and Moncton High School, Peter Fisher, Trish Walsh, Jean Koch, and Joy Bernard, and your coach, who is Charles Fluelling today. And our congratulations to the players from Manitoba, led by Sean Lynch and Fiona Jeffries, Jeff Steele, Stephen Schroeder, and the coach, who is Ron Bailey. We'll see you in the next round, and congratulations for playing such a great game. Bye-bye.
Transportation during the Reach for the Top National Championships has been provided exclusively by Circle Tours and Grey Goose Bus Lines, a Laidlaw company. And in celebration of the 10th anniversary of the Walkman, winners of the Reach for the Top National Championship will receive special edition Walkmans, courtesy of Sony of Canada Limited. Accommodations for students participating in the Reach for the Top National Championships have been provided by the University of Manitoba. The winners of the National Championship Series of Reach for the Top will have earned for their school a set of the 32-volume Encyclopedia Britannica in black heirloom. Each of the 4 students participating will also receive from Encyclopedia Britannica a 3-volume Merriam-Webster dictionary with a 7-languages translation. For more information, call toll-free 1-800-268-6364. Ask for operator number 5696.